What's up, guys? Today I'm going to be installing a common sense E1012 brushless motor on my Parkzone T-28 Trojan, and I figured I'd show you guys what I came up with for mounting it to the stock motor mount that comes with the Trojan without having to leave the cowl off the front of the plane, because what you run into is the factory 480 that comes with the Trojan is a lot taller than this motor, so you have to kind of bridge the gap between the back of this motor and the motor mount, so that when you mount it on the plane you can still put the cowl on and have the proper clearance between the prop and the back of the cowl. Found a real cheap way to do it, just a couple bucks and literally almost no modding skills required. And I'll also be putting in a Castle Thunderbird 36 amp speed controller, and you only need to purchase two things really to do this. The first is these 1210 butt connectors, just a pack. You really only need 4 of them, but you can pick them up anywhere, Radio Shack, Home Depot, any hardware store pretty much will have them. And then you go to your hobby shop, or you might even have these laying around. Is 3/4 inch. I believe they're number 4 screws, but basically they're the same thread as the stock bolts that come with your Trojan that the 480 are bolted into. So you really just need to match those threads up. And again, I'm using 3/4 inch ones, and that's it. I'll show you how I did it. Alright guys, the first thing I did was install the speed controller. There's no modding required for this. The speed controller fits in there real nice and snug, fits in there perfect, and the only thing you could see I did here was put these 2 little dabs of glue on the front just to kind of hold it in place. One thing I learned from past experiences is don't go crazy with the glue. If this thing burns out on you or something like that and you need to take it out, and which obviously happens, if you glue it in there too much, you're going to end up just destroying the front firewall of the plane trying to get it out of there. These two little dabs of glue are going to hold it in there plenty good. Just remember to use restraint there when you're gluing it in. Alright, the next thing we're going to do here is just work on our mounts here. This is really easy, and like I said, all I did was I used these yellow size 1210 butt connectors that you can pretty much find at any hardware store, and they're just a couple of bucks. What I did was I took these ends, and you could see there's a metal bushing in there. I basically just took the ends and cut them off, so you end up with something like this. And then just to make sure that there was no plastic laying around the edges, you can certainly just kind of take a razor and cut them off. I got a little happy with a lighter, and I just took a lighter and just melted it down. So you end up with this little extender right here. So what you do is you get yourself 4 of these, and you take the stock motor mount, and then you're going to take your 3/4 inch size, I believe these are number 4 threads, and you're just going to simply put them in on the back side here, and go ahead and put our motor mount extension on, and then you're going to put all 4 of those on and just go ahead and bolt the motor in. So I'm going to do that now, and then we'll get it on the mount, and I'll show you what that looks like before I put it on the plane. Alright guys, so now I've got it mounted onto the motor mount, and you can see it looks just like that. Pretty simple. And then we're going to obviously just screw it right back on place, and that's it. That's pretty much all you have to do as far as the motor mount's concerned. If you haven't installed one of these before, and like you're getting a common sense motor, one of the questions that a lot of people haven't, I mean even I had when I first got them, is you'll notice that all the wires are black. You can really plug them into any one of these leads, and the motor's going to work. What may happen though is it may run in reverse, and if that's the case, you can take any 2 wires and swap them, and then the motor will run in the correct way. What I do, just to make life simpler, is once I've got that wire configuration set up, just so I don't have to screw around with it every time, is I look at whatever wire colors are on the ESC that I'm using, and I just get some colored electrical tape and I match that up. So anytime I take the motor off and I go to put it back on, I don't have to worry about screwing around with, well, is it the right way, or check to make sure the motor's on, because it's kind of a pain once you get this all screwed in and you shove the wires back there. If it's backwards, or if you forget to check it and it's backwards, then you got to pull it all apart and all that kind of stuff. So I just do that to make things simpler. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to plug this in and plug this all up and screw it back onto the front of the plane. And then I'm going to move on and show you guys what you have to do to the cowl, just a minor modification to make it fit, and we'll be done. Okay, so now we've got the motor mounted back onto the plane. And the next thing that we have to do, and the final thing, is go ahead and modify the front cowling a little bit so that the motor has clearance. Now, the reason why we have to do this is because this motor, the old motor, has this little bit of extension here, and then with the shaft, it sticks out a lot. Just the shaft, it's a lot narrower, and it sticks through this smaller hole with no clearance issues. But with these smaller, more efficient motors, this back housing, it would actually hit this center area here. So we've got to cut that out. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I don't want to add any unspun weight to the brushless by extending this shaft or modifying that at all. And the distance between the back of the prop to the motor mount as it stands, just doing this quick and easy modification, is exactly the distance that it was using the stock motor, so that when we put the cowl back in place, that prop is going to be exactly where it was with the stock 480. Again, what I did, back to lighter tricks, was I basically just took a butter knife and a lighter and sort of heated up the butter knife and kind of just started working my way outward in a circle. Now, one of the things is, and this was my first attempt, and I actually goofed it up a little bit, one of the things I'll let you guys know is that I had forgotten, these motor mounts are actually on a little bit of an angle. They're down and to the left, just to counteract the weight of the plane, since it's a foam plane, and the torque of the motor just helps it fly a little bit more true. With that compensation. So because of that, this top part of the motor actually sticks out a little bit more than the bottom. So when you're cutting on the cowling, we'll just get it in place here, you're going to need a little bit more clearance up top here than you do down at the bottom. And it's going to be a little more left than dead center. So don't try to center up the motor on the cowling and cut it dead center, because then you're going to have a big space on the right hand side here and not enough space on the left, and then you're going to be having some unnecessary issues. So basically that's it. I'm not going to worry about screwing it in here to show you guys. I'm just going to slap the prop on and hand tighten it down so you guys can see the clearance. All right. And that's it. And you can see you've got really good clearance, pretty much exactly like the stock motor. And the other cool thing that I kind of like about this is when you get the motor spooled up here, you can see the coils inside the motor, and they kind of look like the radials on the plane. So it looks, I think it looks pretty slick. So that's it. That's the install. So basically all you're doing is spending a couple bucks on a couple of these butt connectors and some 3/4 inch number 4, I believe, screws, and you've got yourself your Common Sense E1012 installed and ready to go in just a few minutes. It takes about 15 minutes. All right, guys. Hope that's helpful for a lot of you guys out there. Hope you enjoyed the video. That's it. See ya.